Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers. I am Dr. Muhammad Usman, Professor of Physiology, and in this short video we will discuss various sensory areas of the cerebral cortex. So sensory cortex consists of primary somatosensory area or S1 area, secondary somatosensory area or S2 area, and somatosensory association area. Now here is the lateral surface of cerebral cortex, and this is the central sulcus. In front of the central sulcus there are motor areas, and behind the central sulcus there are sensory areas. So this all is sensory cortex. So first of all we will discuss the primary somatosensory area. As you can see, this is located in the post-central gyrus. So this one is the post-central gyrus on the lateral surface of the cerebral hemisphere, but some part of area S1 also extends onto the medial surface on the paracentral lobule. Now this S1, it receives afferent impulses from the ventral posterolateral and ventral posteromedial nuclei of the thalamus. And this S1 area, it consists of granular cortex. Now you know that the cerebral cortex can be structurally and histologically, it can be divided into homotypical and heterotypical cortex. In the homotypical, all the 6 layers of the cortex, they are equally developed, and in the heterotypical, all the layers are not equally developed, and it is further divided into granular and agranular cortex. In the agranular cortex, layer number 3 and 5, these are well developed, and in the granular cortex or sensory cortex, layer number 2 and 4, they are well developed. Especially layer number 4 is larger than other layers in the sensory cortex because it is concerned with the reception of stimuli. Now as you can see, in this area S1, different body parts are represented, and a figure of the body is formed, which is called sensory homunculus, as you can see in this figure. Now in this sensory homunculus, body is represented upside down. As you can see, the upper parts of the body, they are on the lower side, and the lower parts of the body, they are on the upper side. And body is represented contralaterally, that is, the right half of the body is represented in the left brain, and the left half of the body is represented on the right side. Then as you can see, the sizes of different parts of the body, they are not according to their anatomical size, but these are according to their functional importance. Those parts of the body which contain large number of sensory receptors, they occupy larger areas. For example, lips occupy greatest area, followed by face and thumb. Now this is the 3D image of the sensory homunculus, in which the body is represented upside down, and we can see it like this also. So this is the 3D image of the sensory homunculus. Now functionally, neurons of the S1 area or primary somatosensory area, they are arranged in vertical columns. As you can see here, they are arranged in vertical columns, and these vertical columns extend through all the 6 layers of the sensory cortex. Each column has a width of 0.3 to 0.5 millimeter, and it contains about 10,000 neuronal cell bodies, and each column, it responds to a different sensory modality. Now as you can see, S1 consists of 4 broadband areas: area 3A, 3B, 1 and 2. So area 3A, 3B, 1 and 2. Now each of these areas, it has a separate and complete representation of the body or homunculus. The most anterior part of the S1 area, that is area 3A, it receives mostly proprioceptive impulses from muscles, tendons and joints. Okay, it receives proprioceptive impulses, that is the information about the position of the body, from muscles, tendons and joints. Then this area 3B, it responds mostly to the slowly adapting cutaneous receptors. Then we have area 1, and this area 1 receives impulses from rapidly adapting skin receptors, and it also receives information about the texture of the objects. Finally, in area 2, there is reception and perception of deep pressure, direction of the stimulus on the skin, and stereognosis. Now, this is another view of the sensory cortex, in which all the Brodmann areas they have been shown and the cortex has been unfolded. So from anterior to posterior there is area 3A, then area 3B, which is said to be the major primary somatosensory cortex, and then there is area 1, and finally we have area 2, where the deeper meaning of the stimuli it is perceived. Now let's see what are the various functions of S1 area or primary somatosensory area. This area is concerned with perception of all the somatic sensations from the opposite side of the body. And in case of widespread bilateral excision of the somatosensory area, the person is unable to localize discretely the different sensations in different parts of the body. However, he or she can localize these sensations crudely. Then S1 area is also concerned with the perception of intensity of the stimulus. S1 area also helps the person in stereognosis, which is the ability to recognize the shape and form of the objects with eyes closed. Then this area is also involved in the perception of texture and weight of the objects. Whenever there is damage to the S1 area, the most affected sensations are fine touch, 2-point tactile discrimination, vibration, and proprioception. That is all the sensations which are carried by the dorsal column medial lemniscus tract. While the sensations which are carried by the spinothalamic tract, that is pain and temperature, they are least affected because they are to a much extent they are decoded at the thalamic level. Then we will talk about the somatic sensory area 2 or secondary somatosensory area. As you can see, this area is located in the superior wall of the lateral fissure. And in this area, body parts are represented but not in as much detail as in S1 area. Face is represented anteriorly and legs are represented posteriorly. It receives impulses from S1 area, brainstem, and visual and auditory areas. Projections from the S1 area are required for the functioning of S2 area. S1 receives sensory information, but it requires S2 area to store, process, and retain sensory information because secondary somatosensory area or S2 area has links with the hippocampus and amygdala. This region is also involved in spatial and tactile memories associated with the sensory experiences. Now we will talk about the somatosensory association area, and this area is located in the superior parietal lobule. Okay, this somatosensory association area is located in the superior parietal lobule, and some part also extends onto the medial surface. This is Brodmann area 5 and 7, as you can see in this figure. Somatosensory association area receives impulses from S1, ventrobasal complex of the thalamus, and from the auditory area and visual area. When this area is electrically stimulated, an awake person feels complex sensations, something feeling of a knife or a ball. This area combines information arriving from multiple points of the S1 area to interpret its deeper meaning. So this is the function of somatosensory association area. Whenever there is damage to this area, a particular situation or condition results, which is called amorphosynthesis. When the patient is asked to recognize an object, he or she feels only one side of the object, and the other side of the object is not felt by the patient. The patient feels as only one side of the object exists and the other side does not exist. the patient loses most of the sense of his own body or body parts on the opposite side. The patient totally forgets about one side of the body and he neglects the side of the body even for the motor activities. Hope you would have understood the basic functions of the primary and other areas of the sensory cortex. Please subscribe to this channel. Stay blessed and Allah Hafiz.